Hi guys, and welcome back to another IBRACORP video. Such a pleasure to have you guys back here today, and a Merry Christmas and upcoming Happy New Year to everybody. With today's video, I'm hoping I can cover the new version of Notifiarr for you all. I've been working with Notifiarr, one of the developers, for a few months now, and this version, which is basically going to be live as soon as our video goes out there, is going to be covering the brand new trash sync for all of you to enjoy. Now, I think it's really beneficial to go through the app, what it looks like now, what kind of features to expect, and what the trash sync does to help you with your home automation setup. If you haven't seen our Notifiarr video before, be sure to check that out on the channel. You can find it in the description below. But on top of that, also check out their project page, which I'll also link as well. So without further ado, let's just get stuck into it. Alright, so many of you are probably wondering, well, what is Notifiarr? Name can be a little misnomer because while it is an application to assist you with setting up notifications, and it does so very, very well, it also has a whole bunch of other features. It's become quite a bit of a powerhouse. That's why in today's video, we're going to focus mainly on the trash sync and how that complements our current work that we're doing with our Unraid Zero to Hero series. Now, in the Unraid Zero to Hero series, we haven't yet installed Notifiarr. So what I'm going to do today is show you this video completely separate to the series, but we can integrate it once we get there. So for now, let's go through what the application is. We're here on the website, notifiarr.com. You can see we've got a basic explanation that it's a notification, aggregation, system monitoring, and more. And let me tell you, the and more part is really an understatement. If you scroll down, you can see just some of the screenshots that it provides. So it can give you some really detailed info via notifications on basically anything that you can plug into the system. We do this via various different means. Typically, a container will run in whatever environment, and you can have multiple of them across different environments, for example, and then get to all of them through this main dashboard, which is also a tunneled connection. So previously, if you saw our last Notifiarr video, one of the newest features that they developed was the ability for it to tunnel in and have an established connection without needing to open up any ports, which is fantastic. So you can see here, we've got our notification section. We've got some really detailed info on our actual drives. You know, maybe you want to report on when a drive gets full, it sends something in your Discord. You can see all the various different integrations that it has. Over 30 more, as you can see there. That's a lot of things that it can tap into. These guys have been on the, home journey, home monitoring, home hosting scene for quite a while. Really well versed in the community and well represented out there as well in their own Discord, as well as the IBRACORP Discord too. I mean, just to give you an example, look how many notifications have been sent just today. 1.3 million notifications. All right, so that looks all fancy, but how do we actually put this to use? So why don't we jump in and have a look? And what I'm going to do is actually log in. Now, if you haven't logged in, obviously you create and register an account. I have an account, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Okay, and now we're signed in, we can see all of our current integrations that we have enabled. So the way to think of Notifiarr is you have your dashboard, which we're looking at now, and on the left-hand side, we've got our menu. We can go through and set up everything to do with our different apps. So currently we go through integrations. So if you go to setup, as you can see there, and then underneath that, you've got both integrations and Discord reactions. Once you go into the integrations section, you'll be greeted with either nothing or ones that you can actually add. Now, at first, you might have nothing here, and that's perfectly fine. What you'll need to do is you'll see the add/remove integration section right over here. We can click on the little cog icon, and then you'll find all the applications that we can integrate into. Now, just have a look at that. Absolutely massive, right? Uptime Kuma. I run an Uptime Kuma instance, for example. Perhaps I want to set up Notifiarr to be able to, send out Discord notifications when one of our sites are down. We've got our TRaSH Guides sync, which is a Patreon feature, and I'll get to that shortly. We have everything from Recipe, to all of our well-known apps such as Sonarr, Radarr, etc., etc. Things like Plex and getting information out of Plex. Commentar, Jellyseer, Jellyfin, you know the deal, guys. You go through this list, it's absolutely huge, right? So to be fair on Notifiarr, we could spend literally a whole day just talking about each integration. It is a powerhouse, like I said. What we really want to focus on today, I really want to highlight to everybody on why this is such a cool feature, is the TRaSH Guides sync. Okay, so the first thing we want to do in order to get ourselves working with the client side of Notifiarr, which is going to allow us to actually use the trash sync guides, is coming to wherever you use Docker, whether it's in Linux, Ubuntu, or in our case, we're using the Unraid store here. and look for Notifiarr. Now you'll see Notifiarr here, click on install, it's setting as privilege, click on OK. Customize it as you see fit. We usually like to use our custom Docker network. We've got an API key that it's asking for. Now in order to get our API key, just come into your profile here on the Notifiarr website. Under the top, click on your name and then go to profile and then scroll down until you get to API keys, which you can find here. We have a global key and then we can generate individual keys for individual apps, which is the recommended way for your own security. Else you can use the global key, but just wouldn't recommend it. Now I'm not going to show you the global key section because my key is actually in there. Assume you've generated your key, pick the appropriate app, and then you want to come back. Now in our case, we're setting up the actual client, right? We're not setting up an integration. So you can use the global key for that situation. So grab the key that you've got and then go back to your installation. So assuming you've put your API key in this field, you leave everything else as default unless you really need to change it. We don't need to mess around with any of that. We can go ahead and click on apply. Now I already have an installation of Notifiarr, hence why the name has these dashes, okay? Yours should be just Notifiarr and nothing else. Once you've got that done, go to Docker, find Notifiarr, left click and open her up. Now, when you first set it up, you'll have to actually sign in. Generally, it gives you a password, I think, in the logs. So you can always, on Unraid at least, left click and go to logs. If you're on something like Ubuntu, you can just type into your console, Docker logs, and then the name of the container. In our case, Notifiarr, and it should give you that. Now, once you're in, this is what the client looks like, the new version of the client, I should say. So the new version of the client is a lot more refined. You can see that it's been cleaned up quite a bit, and Nitsuwa and the team have done a really good job of making it look really appealing. So what you can do is go to configuration. Here you've got your API account key, any extra details, any other details of the actual network configuration, SSL, health checks, etc. Then you've got the site tunnel. Like I was telling you earlier, because they've allowed us to be able to use a tunnel, we do not need to open any ports, which is awesome. That's the best thing we could possibly ask for. It gives information about the tunnels it uses, the Mullery tunnel here at the top. It allows the website to make requests to the client without the need for opening a port or having a static IP. So that's a massive plus from me. Well done, team. You can actually change the primary tunnel location if you so wish. Maybe you have one of these that's closer to you. Go ahead and change it if you think it's necessary. It can even give you the option to ping it there so you can get a little bit of latency feedback. Now, I'm happy with what I've got. There you go. You can see it runs a ping across all of the tunnels, so we can then pick what gives us the least amount of ping. So in our case, I think Tokyo, Japan looks pretty short. I might even just switch to that, save that config. All right, that's going to reload the client and away we go. Now, if we come underneath Star Apps as well, this is where we start configuring all of our apps. So I recommend you start with the client before you start configuring on the website. What we're doing here is we're setting up everything. Here's the address for Sonarr. Now, in our previous million videos that we've mentioned, again, if we have a custom Docker network set up, we don't need to type in the IP and the port number. In fact, just to demonstrate that to you, what we can do is go HTTP. We do need to leave the port number, but we don't need to type that in. So we can just say Sonarr, leave it as that. It's giving us a tick. Go ahead and save config. Then we've also got our Radarr set up, very similar. Again, make sure you're grabbing your API key from each of those apps. So Radarr's API key goes there. We've got Reader, LiDAR, and then Prowler. So I've got all of those hooked up. I don't use the other two, hence why they're not there. Then we can go down to download apps. So this is where we configure those applications as well. So I've got SAB and I've got Qubit there. I don't use any of the others, so I don't worry about it. We go through our media stuff. We've got all that set up as well. We come down again. We've got things like snapshot apps. So most snapshot configurations are on the website. Below you will find application plugin settings or the snapshot feature, which is pretty cool. So that means we can take snapshots of something like our MySQL setup. Go file watcher, we got endpoints, any kind of commands. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, most of this stuff is above me, but the fact that they're here means that it's just demonstrating how much of a powerhouse this application is once again. Now, if I go to insights, it gives us some really interesting stats, right? We've got our integrations here. If I go there, it's giving me all the details I've got. I can even go to metrics and it's giving us all these metrics. Now, this is some of the metrics that you can get sent via notification if you wish as well. And then we can go down to system and it's giving you a whole bunch of information as well. Absolute badass. Obviously, yes, I am. I'm a patron, I'm a subscriber, we're supporting the project. And that makes me a badass, apparently. So, the little things in life, guys. So now that we've got all of that set up in the back end, we can see that it's updating regularly. Fantastic. Great. We can actually leave this now and go back to the website. All right, now if we highlight here, you can see that it is a patron feature. So if I close this and we go to support project on the left-hand side and we go to benefits, you're going to get a nice, easy to read table on what the differences are per tier. I want to show this to you guys up front so you can get straight away a good idea on what it might cost for the feature, okay? I know that we are overall as users absolutely obliterated with subscriptions on a daily basis. And so we're trying our best to cut those down by moving to these kind of setups. So I think the prices are very, very reasonable. You can start as little as $3 to $5, $10, $25, etc. and then make it any way you like, right? As we're comparing features, we're looking for the TRaSH Guides sync as a primary comparison. So we can see here, TRaSH Instant Sync. As soon as a change is made by TRaSH, it will put your client in queue instead of waiting for the interval. One feature gives you a breakdown on which patron levels will cover that. And you can see the subscriber level at $3 come down, and it'll give you pretty much all of the TRaSH features as well, which is awesome. And it enables various levels of that TRaSH sync as well. For as little as $3 a month, we're talking about here. TRaSH sync keyword, TRaSH sync itself. You've got it for both Radarr and Sonarr and any instant changes. Then you've got a whole bunch of other benefits, guys, which is really worth considering. If you have a look here, you can kill a Plex session retentions, how long it can hang on to that data for you, all in one location. You want integration icons. You want it to be able to delete after finishing stuff in your queue. It's huge. And I think it's a very fair price when we're talking about automating a lot of this process. Quite honestly, nobody wants to do manually. And I would not be paying it if it wasn't for a group of people that actually did this day in, day out. This is their bread and butter. They love this. They love setting up all the integrations to the common apps that we all use. So I subscribe and I support the project. Okay, now with that said, we've talked about the pricing. We've talked about some of the features of the TRaSH sync. Let's actually go ahead and put it to use now. So what we're going to do is go to setup and integrations again. Now you can see I've already got TRaSH Guide sync down here, but if you don't have it, like I said, click the little gear icon, go through the list, scroll down, and you can see TRaSH Guide sync is there, and it allows me to enable it. Now you'll see this other term here on each of these integrations, right? That says client required. Yes. What does that mean? It means we need to run the Notifiarr client on the end, which we want that integration to run. Some of these don't require a client. So you've got these ones that say no, for example. Client used, yes. Is it required? No. You might have a mix where it can perform some functionality without a client, others where you'll actually just need to have the client running. I'll show you that as well in this video. So we've enabled the integration and now we can see it on this dashboard. So if I go to the settings icon, click on that. And here is the beauty of it, guys. If you have not followed our channel for the last few videos about whether it's TRaSH Guides specifically, or we started doing our Unraid 0 to Hero series and we talked about TRaSH Guides, I walked you through the TRaSH Guides website. I might even just show you that now. All right, because credit deserves to be given where it's due. This is the TRaSH Guides. So trash-guides.info. TRaSH has an awesome base as well. He works directly with Notifiarr for the integrations with Notifiarr. So that's why it is a cohesive, environment where everyone's kind of helping each other out. So TRaSH Guides gives us all these customizability features when it comes to setting up our custom formats in things like Sonarr and Radarr. That means we get less of the pun not intended trash that can automatically be downloaded or grabbed, and refines a lot of the search to things we actually want and what we're aiming to do with our media. So for anyone who's setting up for the first time and wants to set up things like Sonarr and Radarr and Plex in a really distinct fashion and wants to get the best out of their setup, we look at the TRaSH Guides as our holy Bible, basically. And now I know TRaSH will probably hate the fact that I just said that, but I'm saying it anyway. All in the spirit of Christmas, of course. Now, what we can do is go through each of these manually, of course, and we can set all this stuff up ourselves. We don't need to necessarily grab the feature in Notifiarr. If you wanted to do it this way, that's perfectly fine. You can go ahead and do that. But if you're less inclined to want to do all of this manually all the time, instead what you can do is look at the different types of profiles that you're seeing here. All these different types of formats, for example, have a read of what they do, what they mean. Now we can do it all inside of Notifiarr. And again, if I just click on that and expand it out, it will tell you what that new profile sync will include and what it will achieve. So that can still be pretty overwhelming, right? So let's just walk through it slowly. Across the top, we have help. So this gives you all the explanation you need, which is what I'm trying to do for you right now. But if I'm not doing a great job, the team has done a good job of putting that information here for you as well, okay? Minimal work, copy TRaSH Guides. If you want to go that approach, use this method. You want to follow TRaSH Guides as is and do not want to learn what everything means. Basically, I'm an idiot button. You can press that, go through this process. Or you want to leverage the TRaSH Guides to improve your setup, but you know what devices you have, etc. So that gives you another option that we can follow as well. And it gives you the use case. So typically it's going to be users who blindly follow the guides and do not want to learn what every format does, every profile, etc. And the important parts we need to take note of are things like this. So profiles is a way to sync entire profiles all at once. Yes, you can use custom scores, set the remove option to allow, and then you can set up custom scores. Formats, a way to pick and choose which formats and or scores you want to add to your existing profiles. Scores, a way to customize, multiply, and mass update scores. Quality, a way to use pre-built values from the TRaSH Guides. And naming, settings, tools, and guide. Okay, so now that we've read through the help section, if you're comfortable, we've also got the formats section here on the right hand side. These are community formats, right? So I can click on formats. Got none of mine in there, but if I go to community formats, you can see some that the community has made for us to use. Let's move over to profiles now. Well, let's say you can see it says no profiles found in sync. Use the new profile sync to add one. So we can add one, so we can say HD Blu-ray plus web, and it's at 1080p is the cutoff, score of 10,000. It then opens up this side panel here for that profile. You can see, do we allow upgrades, minimum scores, cutoff? Are we syncing all of this with TRaSH? It gives us TRaSH's recommended settings right here, and it gives us our settings currently set. Now, obviously, we don't have one set, so it's giving us not added yet. We can also set up the quality to be a cutoff. We can say match it. Now, we're literally doing nothing here. I could just literally do nothing, come all the way down and save it, and that profile is then complete. What I might do, just to give you guys some context, is close this, because realistically what you'll be setting up first is actually the client and the connections to Radarr and Sonarr. TRaSH Guides will come after that. So if we go to add and remove integrations again, you open that up, find Sonarr and Radarr, start with one or the other, and one's already enabled, so that's put it on the dashboard, close that, here it is, right? If I go to settings there, okay, and back on the website now, if we go back to our integrations, like I was telling you earlier, this is now where we can start setting things up. Because our client is connected, we can see it up here. It's connected to those 3 apps. We don't have to type in all that information into the website. It's getting it from the back end. So assume now we've got Radarr, Sonarr, it's showing up. We want to do the TRaSH Guides sync. Go to settings. So let's go ahead with HD Blu-ray plus web, for example. We'll tick that, and this is telling us that we want to synchronize that profile. It's bringing it up on the right-hand side. We can come down. And again, this is what I was showing earlier. Now that we have Radarr set up, we know that it will work. We can then start selecting what we want this profile to look like and how it's made up for us. As I'm going through, I'm checking those settings. Let's say I'm completely happy with them. I can go ahead and click save. And now that profile is being synchronized. So why don't we go over to Radarr and I'll show you what that looks like. Now we've enabled it. Say we're done with what we're doing now. If we just scroll down, you can see the client settings, right? The interval, 15 minutes, it's going to sync every 15. We can change that to lower if we need to, but I wouldn't recommend it. Actually, 15 is the lowest for general use. Instant sync, so as soon as we make a change by TRaSH, the interval will just kick off. And we've got our keywords there as well for subscribers, right? So now with that done, let's go ahead and actually just click sync. And we should see a profile called HD Blu-ray plus web. Now, if you ever want to check how the sync is going with your client, you can always go to where it says client configuration, hit the little gear icon. You'll see here whether you get a connection to the tunnel, which obviously we are at the moment. We can also test that. Now remember that I changed the primary tunnel to Tokyo. It's reflected here, which looks good to me. I can look at the last time a sync was conducted. So right now it's 2:39. This happened at 2:37, the last a couple of minutes ago. What you can do is come down to client triggers, and then we can see there's a TRaSH one here for Sonarr, a TRaSH one for Radarr as well. I'm gonna go ahead and click that one there for Radarr. And what we're doing is bypassing that 15-minute interval timer. We'll come back to Radarr here, we'll refresh, and there you go. There's the profile that we're now synchronizing. Now, I didn't have to go there. I'm just doing that for the purpose of the video to demonstrate how you can speed up some of those intervals if you need to. If 15 minutes had passed, this profile would have popped up anyway. So let's open that up, and you can see within the profile, we've got all these settings directly synchronized from the TRaSH Guides. I haven't had to do anything at all in order to get that to work, right? So when it goes and searches for something, it's going to compare it against all this custom format information, as well as the quality information. And it's so clean, it's so easy to manage. It's so much easier than trying to make this yourself. If I just create a new one here, and you wanted to go through all of this yourself, I mean, you'd be just sitting there going from screen to screen anyway. But the biggest benefit for me is not really the first time setup, even though it is really helpful for that too. It's also when the changes are made, new recommendations are made. TRaSH is always updating his guides to reflect, you know, best practice at the time. I don't even have to think about it. It's all being synchronized for me, so I don't really stress about it at all. Again, you can do a whole bunch of other stuff in here as well. I highly recommend that you guys check out Notifiarr. So if you're not looking at the TRaSH guide sync specifically, you can use the application for so much and it doesn't cost you anything for those features, right? All the rest of this is free. I can hook it up with Plex and Sonarr and Radarr and a whole bunch of things like that. It can tell me when I've got problems. It can tell me when I've got, you know, good things happening on my server, and it keeps me well informed. So if you're interested, set up an account, go ahead and subscribe if you can to support the project and get all those awesome benefits. I'll bring it back up on the screen for you. I think it's a really, really cool initiative. So if you've tried Notifiarr before and you found the, you know, user interface a little difficult to use, perhaps a little overwhelming, I think trying the new version is definitely on the cards and will make your experience so much better. I mean, you look at that looks so good as well. I think they've done a really, really good job there. Thanks guys, as usual, appreciate you coming and checking out the channel. I've taken some feedback on board, which was that my head was probably a little bit too big in the corner when I was trying to show you guys stuff. So that's why I've put the video at the start and at the end of the clips. Really appreciate you coming back and checking out the channel. Thank you so much guys. I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely New Year's, and we'll see you hopefully in the new studio in about 3 weeks time, where I can really focus on really clean and up-to-date content creation. Now, I do know a lot of you are waiting on the Unraid Zero to Hero series. It is coming, possibly in the next couple of weeks, though I have to delay it a little bit, but I want to make sure each episode is tracking with the same pace and same cadence as all the others. So I'm not looking to just rush content out. I want it to be perfect so that people can follow along regardless of where they are. If you're already ahead of me, in that case, drop a comment below, let us know. I'll make sure I try and address anything you found in those videos as well. Thanks guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and reach a wider audience. I can't wait to see you in the next IBRACORP video.